Everybody, we're going to do a boss video. I'm going to try to run through this as quickly as possible. I know in the past we used to do, who's the best for this class, who's the best for that class, and we come up with 30 solutions. Let's go ahead and just be as honest as we can here. This boss, the buffs are so small that they make it obvious to who we have to use. We see that 300% move damage. Let's go ahead and just fill in who does that much move damage. Now, keep in mind, you're going to need things. You're going to need his plate. I threw the gruesome guys on him from the get-go because I don't use a whole lot of move damage people, and I don't plan to just sit there and cycle him and try to make him hit a billion. I don't enjoy that type of gameplay. I want to get in, get out. So I went ahead and threw that on him. Definitely not a must, but he is going to be one of the carry cards for this weekend, and has a good opportunity to be that turn one option. Depending on what you have will determine how well he will do. And that includes hype, your strap itself. Do you only have a gem damage strap? You see a gem damage on mine. I now have a move damage one, but when I first got him, I did not. I was fortunate enough to get one. So, and I'm waiting on plate currency to move everything over, which I don't know if I am, because I don't know if I'm going to use him after this event. But still, if you are being relied on to carry, you need to have as much as possible, and that will determine if you're able to get it turn one or turn two. Turn two, of course, you have a shield, so you're going to need somebody to shield break for you. And it's going to be good to go ahead and just put somebody in that position to shield break. That way you've got a insurance policy. Outside of Henry, it kind of drops off. There's not a whole lot here. DK Cena does have leech. He does have purple. He's not going to do huge damage because of how small those buffs are. So we need to keep that in mind. Although it makes sense, he's got both, he should hit. More than likely, it's not going to. It's not going to even be close. So, outside of blue move damage, we're looking for brute power. And in that category, you have Cena down here, Hip Hop Cena. And he is going to be that guy with the Snowfall plate. It's going to be his Titan build. And however best you could get that off. So if you don't have Mark, I mean, I know Cena's rare. He's a brute power guy. I don't know how else to say that. He's just nasty. And he could do a lot of damage. Will it be enough to turn one carry? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it's enough to start chipping away at that boss and to start stacking that Snowfall plate. Outside of that, it really kind of drops off. Okay? Not a whole lot of options, so we are going to look at... who is it? Where's our shield breaker for this category? You could kind of do it with Zombie Gunther. Ray Phoenix can definitely shield break for you. Jacob can actually do some damage and shield break. Once again, not a carry, but a good assist for a carry team and ready to help with the shield. All right, moving on, we're going to leave Mark as our favorite for here. Next, we're going to look at Muda. Muda is going to do one of two things for us. He's got a triple blue setup where you could use the guy's plate in order to just stack some move damage. And you would basically hit the buff and then refill. Hit the buff, refill. And that last turn you would go ahead and hit the Shining Wizard. And that should hit his move damage up pretty substantial. Not enough, once again, not enough to carry, but it's enough to make it interesting. Okay. The other thing you could do, and this is going to be kind of a one-off because of how slow this is. Did I do that right? No, this one. We're not interested in the purple gem damage. It's not going to be enough. I can tell you that for a fact. You're not going to get that buff off 3 times. It's just not going to happen. And that's what it would take in order to start getting into that 2 billion range. You'd have to get that off probably 3, maybe 4 times. So not only that, but he relies heavily on the Purple Rumble. And with the Purple Rumble, you're going to have to swipe to get it to activate, which means you lose your buff after that turn. So something to keep in mind with that. He's going to be good for the shield. Probably the slower option for the shield, but in this category, it's really slim pickings. So Muta's a good choice. He is fairly whaley to have, let's be honest. Even though he's older in the game, he's not that old, and he is rare. So, there's just not that many that do purple for shield. This is, traditionally he did purple, okay? Make 26 purple in the finisher, so if you have that ready to go for as soon as the shield comes up, it's not a full board. It's not going to recycle, so this is kind of a last resort. There's choose 8 to make in a black submission. You would need that to refill it, okay? You just spam between the Steiner recliner and the military press. Shield breaker, not for anything else. Now, let's get into our big hitter. And it's unfortunate, but there's just not a whole lot of great options in this category. JBL is naturally going to do probably in the ballpark of 300 to 400 million with his multiply setup. So we'll put him up there as a honorary, honorable mention. Not a carry, but definitely can do some damage. I don't like his trap setup, even with Blackman as a stacking option, unless you have the Julius plate, the Thomas chest plate, right? That's going to be the only way that's going to be stack and really do any type of damage for you. But I really like his multiply setup with the a mobile plate. Very strong setup. Okay, moving on to our heaviest hitter for this category, and this is going to be true for every boss until they increase the boss health, and that's going to be Hogan. Hogan's ability to be able to spam that scoop slam and do things is just going to be phenomenal. And there's a couple different ways to run them. You could just, buff and break. You do need to hit 9 on a recycle, so keep that in mind. Maybe match with Sanda or a plate that is going to get that 9 back if you are using the Axe Bomber. It's not always going to naturally refill itself. But he's got some tricks up his sleeve with the Styx plate. I've put out a video of that, I believe. Very strong options with the Styx to where you could really stack some damage fairly quickly. But Hogan's who we like for that aggressive the most, more so than anyone else in that category. Chaotic. OTC. My man. You could run him with props unless you have an MP plate on him. I've got an MP plate on him. A Ministry of Business would do better at the bottom than the Cascade plate. That's just how I have him set up for Titan. Okay, so and that's me needing my Ministry plates elsewhere. And this plate's that plate's really good for Titan, to be honest. But in here, this is how I've got them set up. Nothing overly fancy. We are just trying to get loaded. And what I would do is I would hit the buff, the Crucifix Powerbomb, and then I would hit the Lariat Takedown, and that will hit that MP plate, which will get my Leaping Clothesline, and I could come back and hit the the Leaping Clothesline and then the Lariat Takedown a second time. And that together should be close, if not over, 1 billion damage. With an assist, Roman can definitely carry. With some props, he can definitely carry. Extremely, extremely strong. Okay, and you would use blue props and just get this buff off. Okay, get the buff off, prop, get the buff off, then go ahead and throw it out. It may just be 2 props. You might end up needing 3, but that should do it. Outside of Roman, we've got some honorable mentions in Julius. You don't want him to be the only hitter in your lineup. He's not going to do it solo. He's one that with the 8th anniversary, with the Thomas chestplate, he can stack. Okay? If you don't have these, he's also one of the better options for breaking the shield. So even if you don't have the plates, he is a great shield breaker. So I really like Julius for this slot if you don't have OTC. If you don't have the Whaley stuff for OTC, still look at that build that I had shown. It's still very viable with just 1 prop, or you might look out and have a blue match on the screen. So that is an option. Outside of that, you're looking for anybody that can break the shield. Tusos is not going to be strong enough, even though they've got multis in purple. Same can be said about Dexter. Not going to be strong enough. KO is going to be our next in this category as far as brute strength. KO can still absolutely dominate. And what it is, you just stack these 2 traps and then you swipe to get the Sheriff's Badge to go off at the end. Still extremely, extremely strong in this. So KO's an honorable mention along with Julius, but our focus is going to go toward Roman. Our last category is going to be our focused, and this is going to be really the most narrow category. Woods is my favorite for this, and Woods is going to need some friends to help him get there. I don't believe he's going to solo carry, but I'm pretty sure he will do some substantial damage. The goal would be to get the Snowfall plate to trigger twice for 1,000%. And the first time around, you should be hitting somewhere around the 250 million. The second time is going to be closer to the, we're going to say 600 million, which is going to put him in the ballpark of 1 billion. And that's where I think he stays at. He's going to hit close to 1 billion turn 1 if you start with the blues loaded. If you're able to get that Snowfall plate off twice, that's going to be key. So not a solo carry, but he's our strongest in this category. You want to start with blues loaded. You want the Snowfall plate. You want, all Leo or Brett, and you want the moment. That combination is really going to bring him together to do some serious damage against this boss. And like I said, not enough to carry, but really, if you've got a good shield breaker, he'll take down the boss turn 2 for sure, as long as you keep stacking that Snowfall plate. If you've only got a purple Snowfall plate, definitely turn 2, you're definitely going to take a drop as far as his hit ability, but it is one of those that I still think you're going to be fine at the end of turn 2 to finish it off the boss. Best in category, hands down. There's not anyone that's going to be even close. And shield breakers outside of that are going to be Kali. Kali is going to be a great shield breaker for you. Spam the sub and the traps over and over. it becomes really slim pickings outside of that. To be honest, it's not a whole lot of purple gem people in focus category. I don't know why I hit that. Where is he? Zombie. What's his face? This guy, Zombie Dragon. He's going to be another shield breaker for you with his traps. Okay, so it's, again, not a hitter, but a shield breaker. And that's going to be really our top picks for this. There's not a lot, but if you look at how weak our attributes are, that's going to be why. I'm going to also do an honorable mention, and I don't have this guy built at all, and that is going to be Kamala. Kamala is definitely an honorable mention. You're going to need the moment. You're going to need a thick strap. You're going to want his plate. Triple blue. And the downfall with this setup is it's not going to fully recycle. So to get it off again, you will need to take a swipe for a blue match. Not the end of the world, but it's one of those that he does have the ability to assist and be a strong assist with the 300%, but it's just not going to be enough to quite turn one it. And I hope I'm wrong. Hope I'm wrong with that. I think he'll be close. But do I think he's going to do 2 billion? No, I don't think he's going to do 2 billion. I'm struggling to understand how Mark Henry is going to go from doing 100 billion, which is basically what he does now, to 2 billion using the same thing. I don't see it. The math isn't triggering quite right for me with that. But if he can do that, then so can Kamala. Although Mark's got that big, hefty plate that's going to be the main torch to help carry him across the finish line. But Kamala is definitely a honorable mention here, and he may do better than what I'm thinking. He may be strong enough to carry that chaotic category, although that one is really Roman's home ground. I don't see him doing better than Roman. That's Boss in a nutshell. That's the game plan going forward. This is going to be your best opportunities at beating this boss quickly. Mine, of course, cleaned out, but we all saw it. And I'm going to talk real quick about what you need to do if you are not the carry or lifter person on your team. You know, different teams call it different things, but at the end of the day, there's usually a designated person in every lineup that is the big hitter. The guy that's helping get everybody to their 400 skulls. And do your best to help that person. There is no reason to be going into... We've been having 6-star gold for a while. Okay, so unless you are a 6-month roster, there's no reason to be bringing in things that don't make sense. You know, even something like this, we all got this guy a while back. He does purple gems. Help with the shield. You know, he might only make 25 of them, but so what? It's helping with the shield. If you're sitting in there with... Goldberg's also a good shield breaker for this one. Forgot to mention him. But if you're sitting in there with freaking Rey Mysterio, like, well, he's good with the, drip eat combo. I understand that. This is not feud. This is a whole different beast when it comes to boss. Don't be that guy that's just sitting there going through the motions. Help your carry team, your lift team, get you through. Because at the end of the day, while you're trying to get your stuff for your faction, he's trying to get everybody through, and it takes hours to get 100 people through, especially if you only have a handful that are contributing. So by all means, please help out that person. This is not a shout out to my faction. My faction does a great job of bringing, some really strong assists to where we're not sitting there for hours on end. But I've been in the factions that have done that, where it's 6 hours in, you're still trying to grind to get the top 50 in. It happens. It's very tiresome to do so. So do your best to help them. You either want to be hitting, assisting, or shield breaking when it comes to this. There's no freeze. There is turn 3 where you've got healer steal, and that's going to be for your chaotic. If you have anybody with that boss breaker for the healer steal to keep him from regaining his health. But if you're getting to that third turn, you might want to consider backing out, because it just becomes a endless cycle where you're not getting the shield down fast enough. You need to get a change up in your lineup to either A, get a better assistant, or B, get a better shield breaker in there. So just food for thought whenever it comes to boss. Be the guy that helps the team, not that hinders it. And not everybody's going to hit every week. It's you shouldn't have the same carry team every time. It's by going in with a strong roster, building your roster to be well-rounded. Takes this and makes it a lot simpler of a task than what it used to be. Boss used to be a very demanding, very hard game mode where it was just Whaley. And it still can be that way. We still see what's on my screen right now, what it takes to get them to be that top hitter. It is a lot, but it's one of those that even if you're missing something, by all means, still put it together, see what you can create. Don't just sit there and be like, yeah, mine doesn't have that, so I can't run that. Help your team. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and end the video. I think that's enough for the boss breakdown. And I'm sure either today or tomorrow, or he may have already posted it, Slim is going to come up with some numbers to show us how hard these guys are hitting. And I'm sure he's going to have some picks that are very similar to mine, because this is a tough one, with the only perk really being blue move damage. And there's only 3 people in this game that do blue movement damage. So until next time, we're going to go ahead and end this one. And if you've got any ideas for some videos, send them my way. I am working with Lee Brown with Champs Chat. As always, me and him were faction mates for years, and we've always relied on each other for information that doesn't come from Scopely, but that we have to come up on our own. If you've got any ideas for some videos or some gameplay that you would like to see, by all means reach out to me in the Champs Chat Discord or here in the comments. Till next time.